First thing that everyone heard. Getting a drink down.
Hi everybody, I've got an absolutely fantastic hot chocolate here. It
Oh.
is simply lovely.
Alright, well, I think it's time we started the comms. Yep, the countdown has started. So, good day once again, ladies and gentlemen. You join us for Coleslaw Cup Season 2, Round 8 in Azerbaijan, Baku to be specific. We've got Will Anns on commentary.
Hola.
And El Majako on commentary. Hello.
Boo.
Oh, come on now. We also have 17 entrants here for this 26 lap race. I think the weather was to be dry. Did we see that on the forecast?
Yes.
Indeed dry. So no weather to scupper any of these drivers and make it even more tough around this what is already a chaotic track. What do you think of this track, Will? Is it one of your favourites?
I love this track.
I thought you might say that.
This track is dope, as the kids would say.
As the kids would say. The kids including yourself, maybe.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. For me, it's not one of my favourites, but I can see that there's plenty of potential craziness that can happen. It's always a good spectator event. So, as we are spectators and commentators, I think we're going to enjoy this one.
I hope so.
Right.
Who are you? It may be a little bit too early to ask who have you got as a favourite, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So get ready.
Incredibly early to ask that. But we do have a lot of race winners here. We have Ryan Rodds in the Ferrari. We have Scornsey, his teammate, both very capable. We have Lanzi, also a race winner this season. I don't see Lightwork, who's won 2 races that opened the season. So he'll be falling down the standings. That's unfortunate for him and the Aston Martin team. But even besides those mentioned, there are many capable drivers there, all the way down the field, or popping up onto the podium, and indeed winning the race.
I mean, there's obviously in our lobby today we've got 16 drivers that could possibly win this. Dace is in there too, so it's really hard to call it honestly. I think Ryan Rodds has got to get my vote though. It's Ryan Rodds, but Scornsey's there too. Calibob is quite quick.
You're
well.
absolutely right. I had neglected to mention Kelly Robb. I actually missed his name there. Yeah, he's definitely a candidate to win this race.
We should have Say in here as well.
Say, who's exited the pit lane on intermediates. No, he has not exited. He's still in the garage, but he's got intermediates fitted. For those... Oh, he's leaving. He is leaving. For those spectators who are unaware of what an intermediate is, it is a tyre that's thoroughly inappropriate for the dry conditions. It's designed to work when there's a little bit of wet weather.
And CFR lobbies.
Yes, for jokes, basically. With this many people, there's no tactical advantage in running intermediates in qualifying. If you could guarantee yourself like 6th on the grid in a low number of competitors on the grid, for sure, go on intermediates. But I think that we'll see Say in his Mercedes come out later in the session on a set of softs, as we see 15 of the other drivers on currently. We have Scavney, his usual medium cycle lap. The mediums, of course, aren't going to be as fast and grippy as the soft, but they'll last longer, which is why you see them used in the race. Whereas in the race, softs are less common to see. We're probably right on board with Scavney here.
This is Say's favourite track as well, some insider info.
Is it? Okay.
It is. I'm not sure if that will quite give him the pace he needs to be able to challenge people like Ryan Rodds and Scornsey, but he might put him up there.
Yeah, Say, of course, I believe debuting in this series. I don't think we've seen him before in the Coleslaw Cup.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's always good to see new faces, even though we know Say from elsewhere. At least in the Coleslaw Cup, he is new. So we'll follow him intently as well.
He's just getting that psychological advantage that you're all out there on dry tyres. I'm not.
So if I beat you, shame on you.
Absolutely, nothing to lose, honestly.
Yep, so Scavney here is feeding his Alpine through the middle sector. Of course, approaching the castle section, famous for being the narrowest part of not only the track, but pretty much the entire calendar, I believe. He negotiated that fairly well, didn't clout the wall and cause a massive pile-up like we've seen in the past. And he heads towards the final sector, which is in a few corners' time. And that final sector is pretty much flat out, and that will give us a good indication of who's got the lowest wings, which will be important come the race, because that is a great place to make overtakes on that long front straight which has DRS available.
Yeah, you should also hit triangle. Hide the UR.
I don't think hiding the UI is particularly helpful, because then we can't see what the lap times are.
No, it hides the key in the bottom right. You press it once.
Oh, I see. In the bottom right. Hide UI. Okay, there we go. Alright, well the race director has been scuppered there, and we see a 41.6 accompanied by another 41.6 soon thereafter. Scavney falls down to third with A-Dub now 6/10 clear at the top. The Mercedes man, where is he actually? Parked where Lewis Hamilton found himself in real life last year.
He's
Makes
chilling.
a lovely turn though without colliding with any walls.
Absolutely, he's been playing a bit of Euro Truck Simulator there, I think. Dace's lap time 3/10 quicker than Ryan Rod's as well. We'll see if that advantage holds up throughout the session. So A-Dub rejoins.
Yep, you're right. Dace has gone to the top of the first man into the 39s, which is a very competitive first lap. We'll see if it stands up though. As you say, Ryan Rod's second currently with a 40.0.
And Say
good
crosses
banker.
the line.
Say does actually a 44.
Oh, he nearly gets into a big incident there with the Williams.
Oh, I missed that, but a 44.
Oh, Sheldon Turtleton.
A 44 is actually remarkably close to the pace for having completely the wrong compound of tyres on. So, well done to Say there.
Oh, goodness me. We nearly had
What is
Max
going on
Verstappen,
here
Daniel
at turn
Ricciardo crash
3?
at
Oh, sorry,
turn
turn
one.
2. There are people down the escape roads. What's going on?
Oh god, I thought I was about to witness a death. It was somehow avoided, but oh my goodness me.
Alright, Cynical coming towards the end of the lap and moves to 10th place. Cynical also in his Coleslaw Cup debut. Good to see, again, a new face, and MMR represented once again, Slayer and Cynical now. Let's see, we've got a couple of outlaps going here. Scornsy and Kelly Rubb on alternate running plans to the rest of the lobby. I think, yeah, Kelly Rubb is slightly ahead, so we may as well stick on board with him, because I believe that most of the rest of the drivers will be returning to the pits, currently on in-laps. Of course, it's been 3 weeks since there's been a Coleslaw Cup race. Of course, the 2 weeks previously we've had Christmas and New Year breaks, so hopefully everyone had a safe and enjoyable festive season. And now that we're back, we've got a... we should actually have a look at the championship standings, so we have a bit of a lull. It's the 2 Ferrari men at the top. Ryan Rod's with a reasonable margin over Scornsy, having won 3 races to Scornsy's solitary race win so far. Then it's Lucas, which is light work, in third. Again, he's not here. A DNF last time as well. Collided with Lanza, who also DNF'd. Not in that same incident, but later on. Lanza remains in 4th place. A one-time winner this season as well. Dace is 5th. And A-Dub is reasonably close behind in 6th. Then it's Sharia, Dusty, Scavney and Easy Rider Yowie making up the top 10. Needless to say, Ferrari are in the Constructors' Championship lead with quite a margin. 4 wins to their names, of course. And it looks... it's very early to say, but Ryan Rod's already has a fairly good time on the board here. Scornsy is on a lap currently as we speak, just behind Kelly Rubb, who we're on board with. Kelly Rubb now turns into turn 8 and got very close to the wall. What's Bacon up to?
Thought he was going to cross the line, but he just boxed instead.
Okay. Yeah, I think Kalerov had a bit of a hesitation there as he turned in at the castle section. Thankfully for him, didn't look like he made any contact and sustained any damage. But he's wide again in 15, and this won't be a super competitive lap from the Haas man. So we'll head back to the Ferrari, who's only a few seconds back.
Every time I watch Scornsy, it's just like, just perfectly on the line every time. I think it's great to see, honestly.
He has been described
It's
as
just so
robotic.
satisfying.
Oh my goodness! As we say it, he actually collides with the wall and somehow gets away with it, as Red Eye does not.
And Red Eye on his outlap as well. That was.
It was the same corner as well.
The 3.
Scornsy goes to third place. That was an absolute Code Brown moment though for him in that last sweeper. We were saying though, he doesn't make mistakes. He's always on the line. Seems robotic in his lines, but on that occasion, such a fine margin for error there, and almost found himself in the wall completely out of the session. But as we see someone down the escape road,
that's the commentator's curse right there.
it was Say down the escape road. He's recovered now. Yeah, definitely a commentator's curse. I myself have made that exact error, and we saw Red Eye there making something slightly more severe error and colliding with that wall, ending his session before setting a lap time, which is very unfortunate because he will not be eligible for the hard charger point, because you need to set a lap time in qualifying for that.
Watching A-Dub's POV genuinely makes me feel physically ill.
Why is that?
The traction control, it is so strange.
Again, for the
Nicky's
benefit of
sparking
those
away.
watching, we're referring to, there are 3 options for your traction control assist, either off, medium or full, and most drivers tend to run medium or off, but A-Dub's one of those few that runs full, and not only does he run full, but he does it well. No one seems to do it as fast as he can. It's very much an outlier in the community, so interesting stuff. It's not really going to favour him at this track because there's so many traction zones, and it does limit you a little bit in the maximum potential you have. But we'll see how he does. Currently P7.
And I'm watching Coleslaw here. He's approaching the castle section on his hot lap. A little bit of wheel spin. Manages to negotiate the castle. Fine though. Doesn't hit the wall, most importantly. Doesn't have an epic I am stupid moment. His teammate might be getting a bit of a toe behind him as well when you get to the main straight. Maybe he's a little bit too far back. He's out of Yowie, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, one of the few circuits that a toe-in qualifying will get you a massive amount. We've seen that in real life. Oh my goodness, I was about to say in the game too, A-Dub turned in too early at turn 8, clouted the outside wall as a result, only breaks his end plate somehow. I thought he was going to be completely out of the session. Ryan Rods in the meantime puts in a lap 4/10 clear at the top, which is quite a huge margin, but we'll see if anyone can challenge that. Lansley's also gone into the 39s. Currently sits 3rd place. Dusty now moves up to 4th. So Scornsy's got some work to do here to put his Ferrari a bit closer to his teammate.
Cynical invalidates.
Oh damn, Cynical sitting down there in 12th currently with a 41.5. Doesn't need to find that much time to find himself, within the top 10. But for the moment, he's going to have to wait for his final run. Only 6 minutes roughly left in qualifying. So probably time for one more set of tyres. Shelley pops himself up into 6th. And completely straight at turn 1. Taking the Euro Truck Simulator line, just as A-Dub did. Pretty much a carbon copy. I'm not sure why drivers are choosing to do this. Anyway, we'll move swiftly on for that.
Lanzi out of fuel going down the main straight as well, so the Aston Martin driver there, I believe it's Nicky, is going to have to be careful. I'm sure they'll be able to communicate through that though.
Nicky is on
Nicky
in
might
lap,
run
I
out of fuel
believe.
before he reaches in.
Yeah.
This is the real race. Who will run out of fuel? Oh! Nicky just gets past him before running out of fuel. Sure he is going to do the same thing. Everybody running out of fuel on the main straight now, it would seem. He's sure he actually taps the wall there, gets away with it. I believe we have Scornsy about to start his flying lap as well.
Yep, that's what I'm on board with. Currently sitting in P5. The man who won in Imola a few rounds ago, about to embark on what is probably his final attempt in qualifying. Heads towards turn 1. Interestingly, doesn't put his right wheels over to the right of the curb. Gets a great exit though. And now hammers down through the gears to second. I think didn't get the greatest exit there, but we'll see how that pans out for him at the end of the sector split. Long run up here until turn 3. Very difficult corner. Can be easy to end up down the escape road there. Negotiates turn 3 perfectly in my opinion. Heads towards the final few turns in the sector. Turn 4 was executed pretty well as well. And sector split comes up right there. He's up on his own lap time, but not by a huge amount. So needs to find time in the remaining 2 sectors to improve his position. Heading to turn 7, a very tough corner on the brakes quite nicely. And now into turn 8, the castle section. Beautifully negotiated, no contact with the wall. And gets a good exit as well from that area. Has traffic up ahead of him, hopefully they don't get in his way. Even better for him would be if they are right in front of him on the long run to the end, which would be a tow that Will talked about earlier. And that's contact with the wall. Turn 15 not going perfectly at all for the Ferrari. And his sector split is 2/10 off as a result. I think even if he pits here, he won't get around in time to set another lap time. So, session might be over here for Scornsy.
It's going to be close. Yeah, you might be right on that one. Reinrod's just leaving the pits and now on his outlap.
Yeah. Okay, he is heading into the pits, so if the crew can get that turned around super fast, he might be able to get a final attempt. But I think it looks pretty bleak.
I think Cynical is about to cross the line to set a flying lap. He doesn't improve, so maybe he's just set himself up for a second flying lap.
Yeah, he's got 70% of battery still, so I imagine he started it but maybe bailed at some point, and now setting up this lap he's currently on. Yeah, it seems he's still pushing, and Hot Lap is deploying the battery at a high rate, so he's clearly on the lap still. A lot of the front runners also on out laps, coming out just in time to start their lap before the timer hits 0. That is of course the best time to do that because the track gets better and better as the session goes on, as more rubber goes onto the surface on the racing line. Kelly Robb notably 15th for the 43.2. Expect to see him further up if he gets a final run here. He's still in the pits though. Oh, actually, I think he's done. Too late, right? Yeah, there's no way he gets around in time.
It's certainly too late. Scornsy will just make it, I think.
So it might be a hardest charger attempt there from the Haas, starting from 15th at best. Well, 15th.
It has to be a
sure.
qualifying lap for Scornsy as well to get around in time.
Oh yeah,
so
that's not good.
Very disappointed with that.
Because you don't want to necessarily use your tyres on the out lap as hard and wear them. So he'll be compromised if he needs to push that hard in 2 consecutive laps. We're on board though with his teammate who already has provisional pole. Probably doesn't need to improve to keep it, but will attempt it because it is worth a point. And starting up front is always helpful. Ryan Rods is 600ths up on his previous time. I think turns 5 and 6 didn't go perfectly there though. He seemed a bit wide in the left part of that. We'll stay on board though and see how the lap progresses. Clatters over the curb there. Quite heavy on the throttle as well. Wow, that was perfect through the castle section. So close to the wall. Not a risk you want to take in the race, but in qualifying when you already have a great banker, I think that was a risk worth taking. Of course, there's no penalty to crashing in qualifying if you already have a good time. The car will be repaired for the race. Final sector split here, and he's 2/10 to the good, just under 2/10. So we might see a 39.1 here from Ryan Rods. If he can pop into the 38, that would be amazing, but There's not much room to improve in this final sector unless you have a huge slipstream from the car in front, and there isn't one for him right now. Here comes the time. The timing beam is there. It's actually a 39.0, and it's incredible. Great time there from Ryan Rods. He's got a huge margin over Dace, who's getting a massive tow himself. This is what we were talking about. When you're right behind the car in front, your speed will just increase. Does he have a challenge to Brian Rods? No. 0.3 shy.
And Scornsey has backed out. Lanzi, though, has invalidated also. Shelley the Turtle has a big slide coming out the final corner. His lap is over. AW's backed off too. Cynical is invalid as well. Scavney with a huge tow crosses the line and makes himself get up to P9 with that tow.
Excuse me. Yep, Scavney once again showing how good the tow can be in that final sector. Lines at 40.6. Very impressive. So yes, that will be the session pretty much over. Some drivers returning to the pits on either invalidated laps or laps that are not going to be improvements. So what do we think there? Surprises up and down the field there, in your opinion, Will?
Maybe not so much of a surprise in the front two. We know Dace is a one-lap pace merchant, and Ryan Rods is Ryan Rods. Scornsey will be disappointed he wasn't higher up. However, it's not unusual to see Lanzi in third place. Good qualifying from Dusty. I don't think he's massively overperformed, but he's done a very good job there. But yeah, definitely some surprises at the back. Calibob should not be anywhere near as far back as he is, so that's going to be one to watch for in the race, I think.
No, I think you're absolutely right. So we'll run around the grid once again. It's Ryan Rods with a very impressive 39.0. 0.3 clear of Dace, who joins him on the front row. The Dutchman Lanzi lines up on third place, with Dusty joining him on the second row. Although there is 1 second, more than 1 second between first and fourth there. Huge margins. Scornsey is fifth. Disappointing by his standards, but he's there or thereabouts to be involved in the fight. Shelley, Adub, Bacon, Scavney and Sharia all in the top 10. They'll be happy with that. Then it's Cynical, Nicky, Slayer, Easy Rider Yoey, Kelly Robb as we mentioned, Sayines and Unholy Redeye rounding out the field. Redeye will not be eligible for the hardest charger point, which is available to the person who gains the most positions from qualifying to the end of the race. But Say, I think maybe, despite putting that lap time down on an intermediate. That'll be a question for the admin. Do you think that should be a point available for that, if you've done that on intermediates?
I think it would depend if it was in the 110% rule.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're absolutely right. In terms of lap times, the last time I was at this track was about a week ago. I did a 40.1, so that was around a second off pole, somewhere in 4th, 5th region. So it's interesting to see just how the track is in this session. It's hard to sort of say it was better or worse than the session I had, but the track can be different for those unaware of that. And yeah, again, I'm surprised that some people who I would usually consider faster than me, for example, at this track, were outside of the bracket I expected. But then again, Ryan was super fast in first. So, hard to say what the track conditions are actually like.
Yeah, and just while we have a little lull in the proceedings, if you would like the review of the drink I just had, it's a hot chocolate. However, it was a special edition hot chocolate, Black Forest Gatto. It's a rather strange combination, that with hot chocolate, but I finished it already, if that's anything to go off of. It was very nice.
Yeah, that sounds like possibly one of the best hot chocolates available. Unless you go to like a specific place that's famous for making hot chocolates, I guess.
The Hot Chocolate King. It's out there somewhere and we will find it.
The Hot Chocolate King. Alright, well, we're waiting for players. This is a normal procedure. players will be on the grid, not allowed to ready up immediately because people might need to, have a quick refreshment between sessions. They might want to set up their car. They might want to put in their strategy. But we do see the countdown has started, and that's usually done by the host to make sure no one...
If it isn't done by the host, then ooh.
True. If it's not done by the host, there's usually a penalty involved. So that is that out of the way, and we'll be starting the formation lap any second now.
I'm going to speed run making a hot chocolate during the formation lap. Let's go.
Alright. Well, here we are. This is the one lap before the race starts. We shall bring up all of the relevant information on the screen right now. And that is the one I was looking for mainly. The tyres. No one on softs. And we saw everyone pretty much on softs in qualifying. That is a tyre that doesn't last very long but is the quickest. And the reason you don't see them on that now, because it's not very good in the race. You want a tyre with good longevity, so that's why you see many of them on mediums. You have to use two separate compounds of dry tyre when there's no rain, so you're probably going to see them on hards later in the race, whereas the drivers who start on hards will probably go to mediums at some stage. They are of course allowed to go to softs, but I think that will only be seen if there's a late safety car, or if that driver chooses to go for the fastest lap, which is again worth a point. So about half a lap left before we get this underway. I'm going to quickly shout out a friend of my family, Robin. It's her birthday on the weekend, so happy birthday to her on the 14th. And I hope you enjoy if you are a viewer. I know some of my friends and family are regular viewers of the Coleslaw Cup. It's a great thing to watch.
I've heard of stream sniping, and now we've seen stream simping. Let's go.
I wouldn't say that, because the age of this person is like, well, I'm not going to give that away, but not my age group.
Don't dub yourself in it.
Not my age group, let's put it that way. Of course.
Epic Batman moment.
Of course, your birthday is coming up, Will. So we'll the
true.
closest one to that, we'll recognise that.
One day after the next Coleslaw Cup race.
All right. Well, next week, as we see a nice 360 there from Ryan Rods, we'll acknowledge that. Another 360 in the background from Lanzi. This is all the rage recently. There's at least 3 or 4 cars doing it. Oh dear.
I mean, all the cool kids are doing it. It's and Dusty as well, apparently.
Oh, and is that Nicky done it very poorly? That's a 180. No, it's a 270
I mean,
actually.
of course Nicky's done it poorly. It just fits, doesn't it? We're all there to race, and Licky's come along and he's doing it poorly, and we're all wanting to spin, and Nicky's here doing it poorly. It's we're having a good time.
All right. Well,
I got
now
the hot
that
chocolate done in time as well. It's perfect.
frivolity is over, and Will has acquired his hot beverage. The race is about to start in earnest, in seriousness now. We won't see any more 360s on purpose, at least.
Yeah, we'd hope not.
Alright, here we go.
3, 4, 5 red lights. It begins the race where Dace will be doing a 360, I'm sure, but he gets a good start off the line. He's down the inside of Ryan Rods. He might actually have the lead going into turn 1. Scornsy's jumped Lanzi as well with the inside line. A switch back though from Ryan Rods. Can he maybe send it back down the inside into turn 2? He's certainly going to try it. He's going to trust Dace to leave him the space on the outside. Can Dace carry more momentum with that wider line? Yes, he can. Ryan Rod's taking the slightly tighter line, can't carry as much speed through the corner, and maybe he'll be a little bit vulnerable to Scornsy, but I doubt he will go sending any potentially foolish moves.
Cynical
is out already.
Oh no, and we can't see that because no one is behind that. He's off at turn 2. Looks like he's down the escape road actually, so maybe not.
Yep, we've gotten away with it, so that's great.
So Dace
Nicky
there.
down from P12 to P15 and Scavney down to P16, so not a great start.
Yeah, terrible start for the Alpine there.
From the Scav-Nicky duo.
The Scav-Nicky duo. Dace made a great move there, and on the outside you get such good traction that despite being on the inside, which is usually good in a corner, Ryan was unable to complete the move on the exit due to the traction. Scornsy, meanwhile, up 2 places, actually went from 5th place, jumped the entire second row, so it must have been a great launch and he now enjoys himself in a podium position. But of course, there's 25 laps plus to go, where that might change. Unfortunate for Cynical, his debut didn't last more than 2 corners, but we'll look forward to seeing him back maybe next week if he's available. Further yellow flags, it's turn 15 getting in Unholy Red Eye's way, and he has lost pieces of his wing. That is very unfortunate, and he'll be heading to the pits, I imagine. Dusty also facing the incorrect direction, as is Kelly Rob. So they may have come together, or may have done that separately.
All gone wrong.
Either way,
set the fastest lap. He's trying to pull away from Ryan Mods. He's already right on the edge of that DRS gap, which of course he's got one more lap to try and pull that away. It's very powerful around here, so he will want to make sure he can get out of the DRS range of Ryan Mods. Perhaps I'm sure Ryan Mods would like to win this race, but a P2 isn't the end of the world for him given his championship standings currently.
Absolutely. So Wool's referring to the drag reduction system, the gap in the rear wing that can be opened when a driver is within 1 second of the car in front in specific zones per track. On this track there are 2. That's out of the last sweeper towards turn 1 and out of turn 2 up into turn 3. Definitely aid in making overtakes into turns 1 and 3 if you can have that better top speed. And it looks like Dace is trying to break away from 1 second, but he's only 1/10 shy of that at the moment. Ryan will be very happy if he can stay within, because that will make it so much easier to stay with the Williams. And it might be a good idea to use battery to stay within that second. The battery being what you can see down the bottom here with this percentage in yellow.
Say putting a little bit of pressure on Shelley the Turtle as well, down in the fight for P8. He might want to be looking at making a move into turn 1. That might be probably the closest battle on track. Lanzy's following Scornsy pretty closely as well, maybe looking to get involved sooner rather than later.
Yep, and I'm on board currently with Say, who's exiting the final few sweepers right behind Shelley. Say, of course, has made up 7 positions so far, which is obviously fantastic for him, and it looks like he's about to make a move on Shelley and make that 8 positions gained in only 2 laps, actually, 2 laps of racing. Yep, down the inside at turn 1, safely done, and up into 8th place. Here's one of the DRS opportunities, and it's open on the back of the Red Bull for Sharia as he trails A-Dub. Looking for a move for 6th place there, but nowhere near close enough into turn 3. Maybe he can set that up for the next time they come onto the long straight at the end of the lap.
Yeah, it's what it's all about around here. If you can keep yourself close.
Lanzy had a massive
last
kick
corner, Lanzy with a big
oversteer
snap there as well. That could be very costly actually. If he can't make it back in the DRS window of Scornsy and those top 3 can DRS train away from him, he may have lost his opportunity for a podium. But I'm sure a lot more is soon to follow in this race.
Yeah, Bacon's looking towards that Alpine, hoping that he's going to be within a second of it come the DRS detection point. He's hovering around that margin, but on the outside looking in right now. The detection is after the sweepers actually, and he makes a slight error at turn 15 himself, so I don't think he'll be within it this lap.
Yeah, not with Lanzy using his ERS as well. He's only got a 1/10 cap to Scornsy. He could pull it back. Scornsy isn't deploying. He should have it here. We've got yellow flags as well. That's Nicky.
Nicky, I believe, yeah.
Around in the background, yeah.
Turn 15, one of the most difficult corners on the track.
He did get it.
Despite not being that narrow castle section we were talking about in qualifying, I actually think turn 15 sees more action in terms of broken wings.
He might have to pit here as well. It's the right end plate on his front wing is completely gone.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that Aston Martin. See if we get a good angle of it. No, that was tough to see, but as Will says, the right end plate is the damaged
Lanzy
part.
could be challenging Scornsy into turn 3. He looks down the inside, but then lifts back off. He thinks better of it.
So Scornsy must have made an error there because he dropped off the back of Ryan by about a second.
Sharia and A-Dub side by side through turn 3 as well. Everything's kicking off. A-Dub was going to hold this around the outside, but they were side by side there throughout that corner. Say just behind them watching on. He's dropped Shelley, who is just over a second behind him now. But yeah, I mean, Scornsy doesn't have the DRS as well from Ryan Rods. It's something to consider.
Yeah, Say massively
Lanzi
on the
does have it
move.
from Scornsy.
I didn't think he was that close to those two in front of him, but maybe if they were battling, that gave him an opportunity to catch up, or maybe he's just that fast. Lanzi again with a kick of oversteer, which is going to cost him possibly the DRS here. He was about 5 tenths behind Scornsy there, but it's blown out to 9 tenths now. Oh, and Scornsy makes contact with the wall. Turn 15, claiming another victim there. I don't know what the damage is.
No visible damage there. I couldn't see on the front wing. I got a good angle of it.
Wow, he's lucky if he's escaped without damage there, but it is likely he has some form of light damage. 3 tenths is not much of a margin to defend with DRS coming up.
This should be very, very, very easy for Lanzi to fly straight past. Scornsy is going to have to think more about defending, more about re-overtaking up into turn 3, you would imagine, but he's going to be there down the inside. He can try and hold this one in, but Lanzi just says, nay. Takes that one around the down the inside, and there's nothing that Scornsy can do, but he could get him back into turn 3, as I mentioned earlier. This is where Scornsy should have most likely saved the battery for, but he's not going to try it. He's going to wait, I think. He's going to wait.
Lanzi got incredibly close to the inside wall there at turn 3. Has been known to collect the rear left.
Say and Sharia side by side. Sharia around the outside, Say on the inside, which is going to turn to the outside for this corner.
Oh,
they do make contact. That's Sharia locking up there. I think he's gone into the side pod of Say, which may have given him some damage, honestly, from the side pod, but it might be Sharia with damage actually, as he understeered a little bit through the left-hander. It looked to me there like Sharia made the mistake, but it's very difficult to tell from the broadcast angle. You do need the POVs of the drivers involved, so I'm not going to give blame to anyone as unholy red eye tyres. That's in the pit lane, however, so no
probably
cause for
picked up
as far
some
as
damage that was
goes.
irreparable in that 10-15 shunt he had early on. Unfortunate.
Yeah, Sharia definitely has damage, I think. He's a second and a half now behind Say already. He's got Shelley all over the back of him.
Yeah, there is definitely a Sharia train going on here. His
and
teammates
Easy Rider
involved.
Yowie all over the back of Shelley as well, and Slayer on the back of them, and Scavney coming up to the back of them, and Dusty's only another 2 seconds behind. Rymod's as well trying to put the pressure on Dace. He's going to be within half a second, I think, by the time we get to the end of this straight with the effect of the DRS. He is, so there's a lot going on. Scornsy close to the back of Lanzi as well. I don't even know what battle to look at this point.
It is very tough to figure out. It's one of those tracks that you just got to keep flicking through because it's so easy to make a move on that long straight, depending on how close you are, of course. But Shelley has sort of fell back a little bit there, surprisingly, from Sharia, so didn't threaten him immediately. Sharia did not pit, despite the theory of there being damage on that Red Bull. So continues in P8. Say is within DRS of his teammate, but those Mercedes have fallen way behind 5th place Bacon, who's sort of by himself. Then there's these 2 lead groups, which sort of separate themselves from each other as well, as Dace seems to be pulling Ryan Rods away from Lanzi and Scornsy.
Oh, and Ryan Rods, what a save! What a save by Ryan Rods, fully sideways to the castle section. He's lost about a second. How he did not just DNF, I do not know. That might have been quite possibly one of the best saves I've ever seen.
So disappointed I was not on board with him then. We'll have to see that in your own highlights post-race if you continue to post them.
Absolutely.
Yep. Alright, well, he's not going to be within DRS, but Scornsy will surely be within that 1 second barrier of Lanzi as Easy Rider Yowie overtakes Shelley the Turtle.
Yeah, Shelley not had the greatest of pace. Oh, as Easy Rider makes a mistake, actually, Sharia's going to get by him as well. Unless that was some team orders there.
What is going on here?
But they have Shelley right behind the both of them, and he's going to have a double slipstream and the DRS.
Do you think there might have been an illegal overtake involved there?
The ERS advantage. Quite possibly. It could have been any number of things. The fact that their teammates just complicated it as well, because it could have been team orders. But Shelley can get a double overtake here if he plays his cards right.
Say has overtaken A-Dub, so Mercedes have swapped there.
Shelley has got to go for the move. He's going to go to the inside. He's already passed 1 Red Bull. Can he make it 2? Oh, Shelley, come on.
Don't know about that one, and that's going to put him under threat from the outside now.
Yeah, that was indecisiveness there by Shelley. I was
gets sideways and almost blocks off Easy Rider that time. Easy Rider is so unlucky to be overtaken by 2 cars in one straight.
Rymod's all over the back of Dace as well, so that mistake clearly hasn't affected his confidence. He's all over the back of the Williams driver. Yeah, what happened there, I think, with Shelley is this is why I was getting frustrated. He didn't decide to go for it, and then he did. You've got to be decisive. He should have gone for it at the start. He didn't, and then he put his nose in when they were already turning in, and it could have been disastrous. But
I tell you,
fortunately, it wasn't.
Ryan may have got sideways in the castle section last lap, but he was just as confident entering it this time, and got very close to the wall once again. But he is definitely on the charge. Only 2 seconds back to Lanzi, so it seems like Dace actually dropped off in pace that lap rather than Ryan pulling up to the back of him. So could Dace's tyres be going off? They're all on mediums in the top 6. Say, of course...
Rymod's tapped the wall there.
Yeah, you're right, he did, I heard it.
I heard it.
Yep. Say overtook Adub. Adub's now he still is the lead hard user currently. So that's always interesting to keep track of. And we've got Ellie in chat saying good evening, guys. Good evening, Ellie. Sorry if that's been there for a while. There's been so much happening in front of us, including right now with your man Scornsy getting right up alongside Lanzi. Unable to complete the move, but certainly was fully alongside at one point there.
Yeah, and they are coming into view with the guys ahead, so it does look like Dace is slowing them down a little bit.
Here comes Scornsy again, though. Goes for the outside at turn 3. Very tough to make a move work there, but to put their car in front offline could be helpful. We've got Dusty with an error at turn 1. Well, not necessarily his error, but someone's caused something there, and he's the one who's paid for it. Currently in 13th, unlucky for him.
And Dace under so much pressure as well from Rymods, but not as much pressure as Lanzi is under.
I think Lanzi and Scornsy are catching up. Not necessarily over the course of this lap, but over the course of the last few laps. That gap was more like 3.5 seconds, I think. So now it's down to 2.1. And even 2.0 as we see on the Delta now. So could Dace be the one having worked his tyres hardest here? Ooh, Ryan Rod has fallen well off the back now.
Shelley only just managing to avoid the wall in the castle section as well. Scavney all over him. He's so much quicker than Shelley, who seems to be really struggling for pace. But
Scavney's recovered really well, because remember he had that terrible opening lap and is now already back to the top 10, threatening 9th position man Shelley there, as you say.
And Lanzi has a significant ERS advantage as well, which is going to be very helpful in that battle against Scornsy. Scornsy got a little bit too far back to go for the move into turn 1.
Yep.
Scavney will be trying to get past Shelley here. He should have a pretty easy overtake. Yeah, I don't think Shelley's going to put up too much of a fight against that. Scavney just has so much more pace than him.
Of course, there is a tyre offset there as well. Mediums on the Alpine of Scavney, and the Williams has hards on. So Shelley, as Scavney gets incredibly sideways, catches it without contact to the wall, but loses out on the position he just made. Now under pressure as well from Easy Rider Yowie, who's directly behind.
And Dusty Orski's out. That's in the pits as well.
Yep, no safety car will be deployed for that, but Dusty will not be scoring points. Of course, a man who was, I believe, 3rd in the standings last season and has had a podium this season, not having the season to remember here in Season 2. Dusty promotes Calirob and Nikki to 13th and 14th now. Shelley still under pressure from Scavney. Up front there are some gaps between 1st, 2nd and 3rd, but not much of a gap between 3rd and 4th. Scornsy still applying pressure, the blowtorch as it were, to the back of Lanzi's Alpine. Doesn't have much ERS to work with though, whereas half a battery in the Dutchman's tank.
Yeah, Lanzi is a formidable opponent. He's not just some random Dutchman. He's a very good driver, so Scornsy's going to have his work cut out if he wants to get past him. He's depleted a lot of ERS as well, which is going to be hindering him in this attempt to overtake as well.
To have 2% battery
doesn't quite have the pace.
It's baffling to me that you wouldn't save it up a little bit. Stay within the DRS. He's clearly not able to make a pass. There's no need to use it.
He's using it now.
It is interesting.
As Scavney re-overtakes Shelly the Turtle down the straight.
Easy Rider Yowie
Easy Rider
heads
Yowie
to the pit lane.
side into box.
We've got yellow flags there. Something
And
has
that's
gone wrong
Scavney
for Scavney. We saw him
I need to
sideways
stop
there
taking
last
my
lap.
eye off this battle after he gets to turn 1. Scavney's gone around, Shelley's gotten back past him. Pennsylvanian Civil War out on the track.
Hard tyres applied to the Red Bull of Easy Rider Yowie. He'll intend to go to the end of the race. Emerges in lots of clean air as well, which would be helpful for him to perhaps make an undercut once he can get those white walled tyres up to temperature, which is of course kind of difficult at a track where there's not that many corners in the first sector. He'll be struggling under brakes for the first few corners.
Yeah, especially turn 3. Got to think.
We've got DRS.
This could be Scornsy's time.
I was going to say also for his teammate, it's 6/10 gap between Dace and Ryan now. That had been around 1.2, not so recently in the past. Lap 10 here, about to tick over to lap 11. When do these drivers choose to pit? Also a key question.
Every time they get to that final corner, Lanzi can just use his ERS and get away, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. I think
a dummy there from
Scornsy
Ryan Rods, and Dace heads to the pits. He's the first of the lead pack to enter the pits. Does anyone follow him?
Scornsy's got to go for this. He's going to go to the outside. Lanzi's going to try and defend it, but clean around the outside of Scornsy. But clean off the track. He's hit brake magic. He's gone straight on at turn 1.
A lock-up potentially there for the Ferrari man. That's very costly for his race. Doesn't sustain any damage though. So, I mean, he's still going to be net 4th because he's in front of Bacon, who'd been running in that lonely 5th. And still is, technically, once they all make their pit stops. Dace has emerged in 6th place. So that lead pack really escaped at the front. That's huge for him. He's only 1.3 behind Say at the moment. Be key for him to not be held up by the Mercedes.
He needs to catch up to Say at the near the final corner and get past on the straight, and it may even gain him time, but
true.
Those tyres need to warm up a little bit first.
Of course, he is still losing time as those tyres are so cold, and very difficult tyres notoriously so to warm up those hards. So if he can catch for a DRS move, it would be perfect for him. Say may also choose to pit this lap, which would probably help him as well.
Yeah, you can see how much Dace is struggling with those tyre temperatures though. They are no joke.
The other thing is, Ryan may be able to see that on the map that Dace is relatively close behind Say, and realise that pitting this lap may put him in traffic, so he may choose to continue. He may also choose to just cover off the pit stop, because the overcut does tend to work on hards, which is what Dace has gone on to here. So we'll keep an eye up front, and indeed Ryan does choose to pit the Ferrari, meaning Scornsy will likely continue around this lap without pitting to avoid the stack.
Dace will have the DRS, but
he might get it, but I think we're going to see Say pit
anyway.
That is perfect
he
for Dace.
He has the DRS though.
Where does Ryan emerge?
Nice
Lanzi also pitted, by the way, as did Bacon. And it's going to be side by side. Dace is going to have this for sure. He's going to have the tyre heat, he'll get the traction around the outside. It's close, but Dace definitely has the preferable heat in the tyres. One lap older though by the end could be key. You never know.
So that puts Dace back up to first in that position, because Scornsy obviously still having to box. He's only 8 seconds ahead of Dace now after that mistake. Very costly error there by Scornsy.
Hugely costly, you're right. I think it was already about 4 seconds behind anyway.
And Bacon makes a mistake. Shelley's going to pounce on it. He might try and go around the outside of the next corner, and Bacon has to tuck in behind. That's the cold tyres there for Bacon.
Indeed.
Just understeering and struggling to get the car slowed down. Slayer Eyes looking interested on the back of Bacon as well. Bacon really struggling on the brakes to a crazy extent.
He was technically in a battle with Scornsy, if he could manage to make an undercut work.
Slayer's going to go for a move here. This is a risky spot. He has to cut the corner and
backs out of it.
Yeah, that wasn't
smart to back out of that.
Yeah, but
Bacon gets super close.
He took too long to decide to be smart there, because he shouldn't have gone for it in the first place, I don't think. Easy Rider Yowie right on the back of Shure Coleslaw, who is struggling with the tyre temperatures as well. These fresh hards are an absolute menace to everyone's pace.
You're right, and Ryan Rods is also featured in that. He's unable to stay close enough to get DRS from Dace. So Dace making great use of the heat in his tyres, and escaping, as it were. Into the pits comes Scornsy, as we expected. 12 laps completed on the mediums, only requires 14 on hards. Definitely
Sharia makes a mistake.
possible.
Easy Rider Yowie nearly hits him, and Easy Rider Yowie gets past, but Sharia will have the DRS for the main straight. Scornsy finally pitting as well. The last of the front running guys, A-Dub getting past him then.
Yeah, we'll
Up
see where he
into
pops out with
E4.
regard to Shelley and Bacon, probably in front.
Say jumps a few guys in the pits as well. Sharia should have the DRS here. He does, and this should be a very easy move to re-overtake his teammate Easy Rider Yowie, who would have had an easy overtake down the straight if Sharia had not made that mistake.
Kelly Rob gets very wide at the last turn there, or the last turn that you have to brake for. And Nicky takes advantage there, goes through for P13.
However, one thing to consider is that Calibur will have the DRS.
Yeah, he's falling back though, and
before the
probably
deflection point.
needs to pit at some stage.
This
He's
may
on
well
10 lap old
be
medium.
too far back though. Yeah, he's way too far back, and he runs very wide again, and then spins. His full wing has gone.
Turn one spin there for the
Brooklyn
Haas.
Rabbit.
Needs a safety
Yeah,
car
he just
and
got up.
deploys one for himself.
Absolute. I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move, says Calibur.
Now,
Absolutely fantastic.
That
move
is
there by Calibur.
very interesting. He
Genius.
and Nicky really needed a safety car, and we cannot say that he meant to do that, but he has helped himself
I'm going to say
immeasurably.
he did. I know he didn't, but I don't even care. That was incredible.
We've seen instances of foul play where people have attempted to do that for themselves in the past. By no means are we suggesting that Kelly Rob has done it there. He wasn't sitting there long enough to have made that happen on purpose, I don't think. Either
I was
way,
only joking.
returning to the pits and putting on a new set of tyres, probably mediums, would be very helpful if you have a fresh set here. Lanzi enters the pits. Dace and Ryan did not choose to. A-Dub, yet to make a pit stop himself, enters the pits. We'll see all those people who started on hards entering the pits for sure. Joining them is Shelley. Bacon will be happy about that. He's released now into 4th place. Where does Lanzi emerge? He had given up 3rd place. He's going to be 6th, it looks like. Say just slipping through there for that 5th place. So Lanzi puts himself on an alternate strategy, joins A-Dub and Shelley, 6th to 8th region on mediums that will for sure make the end, and will for sure be quicker than the hards that the top 5 drivers currently have on.
It's a very good safety car for Scornsy as well after that mistake. This kind of bails him out.
Yeah, let's talk about who this helps and who this hinders. You're right about Scornsy. He gets all that margin back that he'd coughed up in that mistake. Bacon, I guess, with him. However, I'm not sure it will help him so much because he'll be under threat from the likes of Lanzi and A-Dub behind at some point, whereas he may not have been otherwise. Lanzi takes a bit of a gamble here. He was in that 3rd place. Now he has to make moves to get back to where he was. A-Dub and Shelley are certainly helped by this because they would have fallen a bit further back in the pack. Of course, Kelly Rob, Easy Rider Yowie and Nicky were a bit further back and needed that help. Actually no, Easy Rider made a pit stop there and he stacked. He of course was running right with Sharia, so that wasn't helpful for Easy Rider Yowie. Dace and Ryan of course were clear at the front, so they won't be too thrilled about this, especially as Dace had a gap that was more than the DRS. So I think that's hurt Dace more than anyone else. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, to lose that gap that he pulled out using that undercut. And it looked doubtful that the undercut may work with how much he was struggling on the outlap, but seemed everybody else struggled even more. So, but he's still in P1. He's still got the opportunity to go ahead and win this race, but it means it's just not going to be quite as straightforward as it would have been otherwise, which I don't think would have been straightforward anyway with the pace that Ryan Rods has. I do think Ryan Rods is a little bit quicker than Dace here in race pace as well as the qualifying pace from what we've seen so far, so it's going to be interesting to see what Scornsy can do as well, because I don't think he has the pace of Dace and Ryan Rods right at this point in time.
But he doesn't have Lanzi to worry about for the moment, so he may be able to concentrate elsewhere. So we'll see what he can do. You can never count out Scornsy, that's for sure. Scavney took advantage of having quite the margin back behind him, pitted for a second set of mediums, had come in only 2 laps ago for hards. So that was a fantastic strategy choice there. Didn't lose a position in that pit stop. Goes to fresher, softer compound of tyres. Exactly what you want.
It turns out Unholy Red Eye was having technical issues with his wheel.
That is unfortunate. Do we have any word on Dusty?
I don't believe so, no.
Well, that is unfortunate. Canadian out of the race there. Yeah, there's Red Eye's testimony. My wheel is messed up. Can't get the car to turn. Yeah, that's fair enough. A responsible way to retire is, of course, in the pit lane, as he and Dusty chose to do. Now, how long does the safety car stay out for? Maybe another lap? There's 2 cars yet to catch up to the line.
We'll have another lap, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been 3 laps since the deployment, but that first lap was actually, it was ahead of the field, so they had to catch up to it. So there should be 1 more lap available to the safety car there. And we have 14 drivers left, 9 of them on medium tyres, the quicker tyre than the hard, but all those hards have track position. So it's really going to be a race of converging strategies, which is always exciting to watch. No one's necessarily going to just drive away, at least from what we see currently. It is possible, but just less likely. There will be 10 laps to go as well. So nice round numbers there. 10 laps to go, 5 hard compound users.
Calirob should catch up as well.
Yep, Nicky just about catching the back of the conga line now, and Calirob will for sure catch up with so much of the lap to go. He pitted again last lap, so has the freshest tyres of the entire field. Well, equal with Scavney and Nicky. So a fast driver in his own right will look to make moves. I do happen to know he doesn't necessarily like this track, which is fair enough, and it might be a symptom of his poor race so far, but never predict too much. You might see him in the top 10, top 5 by the end. Alright, Will, what do we think about the tyres here? Do we think Lansley stands a good chance of getting to the front here, or can he only get to maybe a podium?
I think a podium is on the cards, but I don't think the advantage is going to be great enough necessarily to cause a win to happen on strategy for one of the medium runners, because the mediums were struggling after about 10 laps, weren't they, I believe. Of course, a lighter fuel load as well. Now will decrease the wear a little bit, but the mediums will be a slight advantage, I think, but I don't think it will be huge. It'll be a very big advantage to start with, but
absolutely,
as we
that
get
will
a few
be
laps in,
reducing
and the hards are going to be cold as well.
Margin of discrepancy between the tyre as the laps go on. You're right.
The hards are going to be struggling for temperature a lot as well, I think.
That's why you see these drivers weaving. They want to get temperature in those front tyres. Doesn't necessarily help their rear tyres that much, but if they can get them into that 8 degree Celsius margin, I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, that will be okay to go by the time they get to turn 1 braking zone at least. Dace has control of the pack. He can go whenever he likes, and he goes. Scorns, he has a better reaction, I think, than his teammate, but I'm not sure a move will be available to him into turn 1. Dace will be safe for sure, at least for this braking zone. Lanzi has already made a move on Say. Say is now only up.
Say holds it down the inside
actually,
though,
Say
and
gets it back.
he's going to retake that position, I think.
Oh, and goes for the move
He's
on
going to send it down the
Bacon.
inside of Bacon.
That was
I'm not sure if that was
extremely
intentional.
optimistic.
Not 100% sure if that was intentional, but
Lanzi now looks to make that
Lanzi's
move.
going to go for it as well. the hards are going to be struggling for the temperature as well, so maybe he did just misjudge the braking a little bit.
Yeah, move is complete now, and the Mercedes are now line astern. Hopefully they're communicating, because ADUB needs to get through and follow Lanzi through as soon as he can. Bacon gets a bit heavy on the throttle. I think almost lets Lanzi go there. Lanzi collides with the inside wall, clatters over the curb, but the move is complete.
And here goes Say. Here goes Say. Down the inside goes Say.
He's now up
And
11 positions from his starting point, which is wow. Also, Shelley makes the move on Scavney.
Scavney as well.
Wow.
Calibob right on the back of those guys as well, as Nicky runs a little bit wide.
Hard to know where to look at this stage. There's a 3/10 gap, there's even a 2/10 gap actually further down the field. Looking at the back of Nicky. Oh, that's a nice ding sound there from Will.
That was a very nice ding.
Oh, a sideways moment from Nicky. Keeps it in a straight line just about. We'll head back up to the front because Dace only has 3/10.5 over Ryan Rod's at the front.
And
Nicky's
Nicky
now had a pirouette. That will not be helpful. So DRS not available for the first 2 laps after the safety car, just as it is at the start of the race. 2 laps where the driver in front has an opportunity to extend the margin, but there is no margin right now between first and second. The gearbox is almost being, inspected by Ryan Rhodes at this point. Caressed is a good word for it.
And here goes Scavney on ADUB as well. Full TC isn't going quite enough.
Oh, ADUB comes back in the braking zone.
Hold it around the inside. Scavney's going to have the inside, but it does turn to the outside. ADUB would be wise not to challenge that one any further.
Oh, there's a collision behind though.
Gets hit behind. Into the wall he goes. I'm not sure exactly who hit him there. Someone did.
There's a right front end plate there missing. Terrible luck for ADUB. He'd been running up and around that 6th to 8th region for most of the race. Now finds himself in 13th place with little hope to regain that without another safety car. Might need a trip to the pit lane as well. Dace is still under threat from both Ferraris up front, and Lanzi is rapidly reducing the gap on those mediums. He's the only medium runner who's made any inroads into the hard dudes in front of him. 2 positions gained for the Dutchman. 1 more position and he'll be back to where he was prior to the safety car. And I think he's going to be able to do it. Here comes a potential move though for the lead. Ryan is deploying his battery. He's right behind the Williams of Dace, who's held the lead for such a long time. Shapes to the inside, and where does he find his braking point? Lanzi gets the fastest lap in the meantime, as we expect. Space left by Ryan Rodds.
Though, and he will have the DRS as well. They go
not the ideal line either from Ryan Rodds. So
for a better line.
Traction is on Dace's side, I think,
Dace
and he's going to make that move back down here into turn 3.
Try this again. Lanzi against Scornsey as well.
Yep, Lanzi makes the move.
To get past Scornsey.
Oh, there's contact.
And Ryan Rod's in the wall. Dace gets tagged from behind, I think, there as well.
Oh, there's ghosting cars as well. Lanzi's
and
through.
Ferrari disaster class. Lanzi is in P1. I've eaten my own words.
Not so long ago, he was in 4th place, like literally 30 seconds ago. He's made 3 passes, 2 of them, of course, sort of getting each other's way, tripping over one another. And it's going to be very difficult to usurp him from that position with a harder compound tyre.
Yeah, Lanzi going to have to watch for his wear though, because although he has the advantage now, that advantage may not necessarily last, and I don't think, even with the tyre advantage, that he can pull a DRS gap to Ryan Rodds. So
very disappointing from Dace's perspective though, to have led for so long. Oh, there's contact with the wall. Was there damage for Lanzi? Got on the throttle and sort of pivoted himself into the wall with the right front. Super lucky to get away with that if he has.
I don't see any damage.
Again, Dace led for so long. Not only has he lost the lead, but he's now in 3rd with possibilities to fall off the podium completely. So it's gone very wrong through no fault of his own. The safety car really
and Dace has
been the problem
basically no ERS either.
Yep, you're right, and very close to the back of Lanzi there. Lanzi goes very deep.
The switch back there from Ryan Rodds. He gets the inside, I think Lanzi may get the DRS though.
Oh, it'll be very
Difficult
close.
to call it. And
got the
neither of them
DRS?
get the DRS
No,
actually,
Lanzi
because they were
did.
so close
It's
together.
open for Lanzi.
Not on my screen.
It's definitely open for Lanzi on my screen.
That is rather strange.
Really strange. Either way, they were side by side again through turn 3, and the advantage goes back to Ryan. He gets hit in the arse, and
That's the technical term.
yep. And now Lanzi's under threat from Dace, who now finds himself. Oh goodness me! Lots of contact. Dace is through. Ryan has the lead. There's side by side in the background. Say has overtaken Scornsy. When did he get into this fight? Bacon's there in the background as well.
It's the Mexican Minister of Attack versus the Mexican Minister of Defense.
Oh my goodness.
Say has to settle in behind there.
Tremendous action throughout the field,
so
but such fine margins, and you can lose out so massively through even someone else's mistake, which is always heartbreaking to see. Either way, Lanzi still has the advantage of the tyres. I don't know if he has any damage, but he is well within DRS, has his Dace. There's yellow flag for Easy Rider Yowie. Contact at turn 15. I'm not sure what occurred there.
And
actually, Dace didn't
Yowie
get DRS.
falls behind Adolf, and what the hell is going on for Easy Rider Yowie? That was like Tomater out of cars. The reverse driving champion. Just on a... He's got damage as well, Easy Rider Yowie. His race is effectively over as well, I think.
I think Ryan may have weathered the storm here. He got through a patch of craziness, and now is just getting away.
And Easy Rider Yowie is out.
Oh, could that be a safety car as I say that?
And it is a safety car. Full course safety car.
There's not going to be many laps left at all to resolve this, as Shelley overtakes Bacon during yellow flags. That's not on. That is reversed though. Alright. This is nuts. We'll see if anyone pits here. Softs could be helpful, particularly if you're at the back. You don't want to give up track position if you're at the front. There'll be probably 3 or 4 laps to go when this safety car falls in.
Yeah, and Yowie had picked up wing damage from his previous adventures that led to him driving in reverse out of turn 15. And of course he must have just gone through the S section without enough downforce, not accounted for it, and that's how he's ended up in the wall, I would imagine, due to that front wing damage.
Yeah, very easy mistake to make. Those last few sweepers are flat out in the dry when you have a car that's fully together, but when it's a bit broken, that's not always the case, and very easy mistake to make in those circumstances. As Lanzi almost loses the car under safety car, saves it. Now, who pits? If I'm up the front, I'm not pitting. That's my opinion. I've seen people do it though, and let's have a look.
The field is so close together.
Too close. You're going to end up right at the back.
It makes sense if you're Nicky or A-Dub.
Lanzi shapes towards it, does not choose to do it. Let's have a look behind him. Who's going to be the first? It's Bacon out of 6th place. He's joined by Scavney. Well. Bacon speeds into the pit lane.
Massive bozo moment. Will A-Dub and Nicky stay out? I think it makes sense for Nicky to pit as well as A-Dub, honestly.
Should pit because he got that damage we saw. I don't believe he
I think they are both going to pit.
Yep, A-Dub's in, as is Nicky. So soft
May
tyres.
even make sense here for A-Dub for Bacon to pit again on this next lap.
He would give up 3 positions of track position, but clear the 5 seconds. To be clear, for those spectating, whenever you get a 5-second penalty, you can come into the pits and they just sit you there still and wait before servicing the car, and that clears the penalty, so it won't be applied post-race. If it's a 3-second penalty for corner cutting or track extending, that stays. So he can tactically pit here. I think I might be inclined to if I'm him, but it will change his tyres, so if he has no more fresh softs, that may not be preferable.
I still think it's worth it. I still think he has to. Otherwise, there's no way he isn't finishing last. I don't think, honestly.
Yeah, he's only going to beat people who have further accidents. So, that will leave Scavney as the lead soft tyre user. He'll start 10th with a few laps left. How far can he get through the pack? We know he had been racing the likes of Sharia, Slayer, Shelley previously, so he should be faster than them for the remainder of the race. Do we think he can possibly challenge a top 6 or so?
Honestly, with the amount of chaos that's gone on, I'm not going to say no to that one. Lanzi, I think this is good for him as well. Obviously brings Ryan Rod's back to the pack, but obviously Lanzi gets to look after those tyres for a couple of laps as well and try and preserve the advantage. So the other side of the coin as well for Dace, he found himself a couple seconds in the lead, and then a safety car came out, and now he found himself adrift from P1 by a couple of seconds, and a safety car came out.
We're seeing further pit stops there. That is Callie Robb. And
in comes Brooklyn Robert.
Bacon did not.
Stays out.
Okay, so Scavney will be not the lead soft tyre user, but he'll be the lead one without a penalty, and still 10th place. He'll hope that Bacon can sort of snowplow through the field in front of him and follow him through. Snowplow being a technical term for this, obviously. And there's going to be 3 laps left. 3 laps to decide who wins the race. One of those laps will have DRS, and the run to the line, importantly, will have DRS. So that will be something to watch out for. One thing we have to note as well is how lucky it is to be rammed at the corner we're looking at right now, turn 4, effectively steamrolled into the back of, and not hit the wall like we saw happen to ADub earlier. That could quite easily have happened to Ryan Rodds there, and he still remains in the lead. We don't know if he has damage to the rear of that car. That's always possible as well, and can be quite difficult to remain in control of the car when that happens. So we'll see. We're going to ask them, of course, in the interviews as well, if they make it, what sort of damage they were looking at.
Shootout as well, I believe.
Yeah,
no, I don't see any reason why the safety car won't come in this lap. It's going to be fun to see what the soft tyre runners can do.
Yeah, exactly. Can they take the fastest lap as well? It's currently a 42.7, which is Lanzi's. Now let's have a look at the position change. It's currently 11 places gained for Say, 6 for Slayer. They're the top 2 in terms of gained from qualifying. We'll keep an eye on that as well. That's worth a point, of course. And now we'll head back to this battle up front. Might go with Lanzi here. He still has the softer tyre compared to those in front, but they are going to be closer on wear now with 9 laps on them, albeit quite a few of them under safety car. Can he get back to the lead? He had the lead, remember, and somewhat surprisingly lost it. So we'll see if he can regain it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Honestly, I think this is going to be a really fun 3 laps. I can't predict what on earth is going to happen next.
When does Ryan choose to put the throttle down? It's under his control currently, but now is about the time you'd expect him to go, and there he goes.
He does, and Dace is caught napping. Ryan Rod's getting away to a little bit of a lead there.
Say is quite close to Scornsey here.
Putting the pressure on Scornsey. Might try this around the outside.
Someone's wide in the background. I think that's Slayer.
Will be amazed if that works.
Sharia makes the move, I think, in the background. Say is incredibly close to the back of Scornsey there. Gets away with it without contact. There's 3 wide in the background. Sharia is between Slayer and... Well, no, he's between Scavney and
It's 4
Bacon.
wide now.
Good grief. Bacon is just going to pass
involved.
3 cars in one. No, there's contact. There's big...
And then he's going to cause a crash.
It is a pile-up. Is that ADub sneaking through? So he's benefited from that greatly. But there's further contact, and he only benefited from about 1 corner.
So much. Good job, Jacko.
Goodness me, our commentators cursed the absolute baloney out of him.
Well, Scavney's up to 7th, and I think he's free of damage, so he needs to be chasing after.
But there's a 3-second gap in front of him that emerged in that melee. ADub is still stuck down that escape road. Hopefully he can get out of there. Yeah, he's extricated that Mercedes from a place I've not seen many cars in the past. Up front, Dace is not within 1 second of Ryan Rodds, so Ryan may have weathered the storm. Lanzi's still there or thereabouts with Dace in front of him. Clatters over the curb, as I think Scornsey did too. No one particularly close up front. Nicky finds himself within the top 10 all of a sudden. Super helpful safety car for him. Sideways moment for Sharir in front, and that will put him under threat on this long straight. There's no DRS to use yet, so Nicky may not be able to make the move. Let's have softer tyres.
He's going to be under pressure from Calirob though, I think. More than anything, Calirob using the ERS. He's tucked up in the slipstream. Nicky appears to have slightly lower wings though than Calirob, because he is not able to gain on Nicky in the slipstream. He may just start to the inside anyway, but I think he's going to be too far back, and he is. Impossible Bacon getting past Slow Rise as he tries to recover after that incident, setting the fastest Sector 3 that we've seen all race.
Yeah, they were the two involved in that collision actually. Both of them lost out massively in terms of position. Here comes Calirob getting a great exit from turn 2, and Nicky will fall back to 10th. Maybe hope to overtake Sharir at some point if Calirob can clear him. Calirob gets super sideways though.
Yeah, Nicky had to lift off there to avoid hitting the back of him. Nicky maybe would have been able to try and challenge that around the outside, but I think he knows that Calirob has him beating for pace. As the Red Bull makes a mistake up ahead. That's Sharir Coleslaw. He's going to find himself under pressure, possibly from Calirob.
The mistake was actually
okay.
Shelley as well. Scavney charged him down, and he's now only 2 seconds back from a say. So Scavney could find himself in the top 5. I said top 6. He's already there. Wow. Super pace.
Yeah, say dropping a little bit from Scornsy now. He's using his ERS to try and get back within that DRS. He really needs to.
Scornsy's got a shot here at Landsy.
Of Landsy as well. Say just going to be able to fight his way back into the DRS range as well, it would seem.
Calirob is relatively close to Sharir as well.
Calirob should get this move done with the drag reduction system.
No, it's not open this lap.
Of course, being activated. Is it not? I thought we had to. Lap. My apologies.
Ryan now with the fastest lap. Sets it on hards. Does Scavney stand a chance of betting at this lap? I think he might.
There's a lot of swerving behind Nicky trying to break the toe. Impossible Bacon trying to grab the toe.
A move from Calirob on Sharir. There's contact.
Goes man too.
Ooh, I don't know. I think Sharir may have turned in a bit early there, but either way, the move is complete.
And down the inside goes Bacon.
Oh, Bacon. That's a...
Nicky manages to hold it around the outside. Bacon struggling so much on the brakes. All race long.
Yep, the DRS though is available down towards turn 3, and that move is complete. We're of course on the last lap. There will be DRS on the run to the line. Up front, Ryan is unchallenged. He should be fine barring a mistake. Dace will have Landsy to worry about. Landsy will have the DRS to defend from Scornsy, so it's unlikely there'll be a move between 3rd to 6th. Scavney is caught up, but I don't think he has time to make use of those softs.
No, maybe he can grab Say, but I doubt it, not with it being the last lap of the race. They should stay in this order. I think Ryan Rodds has got this unless he throws it away himself. Nicky
loses out
finding the castle section and then finding the wall. As he has yet another spin. Ryan Rodds manages to negotiate to the final corner with the lap, and he's going to take the win here. Dace will be able to grab P2. I'd be surprised if Landsy can do anything. Scornsy might be able to do something, but probably not. I think they're all going to stay in that same order now, all the way up to the line.
Yep, so you're right, except Calirob is going to get Shelley right at the death. 7th place for Cali,
yeah.
And Bacon
jumping ahead of Sharir,
but
he will
that 5-second penalty is applied.
And I'm sure he may see further penalties coming to him.
Look how close it was there
race,
between him and Slayer though. 5.1 basically. So it remains 10th for now, but as you say, there's potentially a steward inquiry coming up, which is funny because Bacon is the head steward, so he'll need to get someone else to look at that. Nicky, unfortunate.
Nicky crossing the line, A-Dub 1 second up on his fastest time. He's going to be trying to get the fastest lap here. He's going to run out of ERS down the straight though. Of course, the effectiveness of the DRS is reduced when it is under 10%.
Yeah, absolutely right about that. But if he can get that fastest lap, it will be some way to save a 13th place. I'm not sure if he did.
Yeah, we won't know until the next screen, I don't believe.
Wow, so that'll be... Say, for sure gets driver of the day. I think that was around 11 places gained. He of course started on those. Sorry, he qualified on intermediates, so we'll need to get that reviewed. But for now, I believe he gets that point. The fastest lap point will go to either Ryan or AW if he got it right at the death there.
Sacramento people are so cringe. Just thought that needed to be said.
That was quite random.
Great win for Ryan Rods. Keeps the championship charge going.
Yeah, 4th win of the season.
No sign of slowing down.
Double that of anybody else. It's already more than the most of a single season. Last season, the maximum any driver got was 3 race wins. That was actually shared among 3 people, I believe. But this season, he's been...
and Ryan Rod's got the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. ADAB did not quite get that.
Unfortunately.
So that's 2 bonus points for Ryan. He had pole as well, which is of course worth a point. So almost maximum.
I'll get the interviewees added.
Please do. That would be Ryan, Dace, and Lanzi, please. Well, this lobby is taking a bit of a while to update. I'm trying to get the final standings here for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just load straight out of it? Okay. I think the lobby just broke. So unfortunately we're not going to get a screen that tells us the full results there. But from memory, it was Ryan in P1, his 4th victory of the season. 5th Ferrari win of the season. 2nd place for Dace, who led by 2 seconds at one point. Unfortunate to lose that, but these things happen. It was Lanzi also on the podium, who led briefly with that different strategy. Unfortunately for him, there was some contact involved. Managed the podium though in the end, which is always a good thing. Scornsey just off the podium, putting in a good result for Ferrari, and Say was also in the top 5.
Should we bring Say in as driver of the day, P5 as well?
We haven't been doing that up until now, but you're most welcome to do that if you wish.
May as well, and we've got 2 interviewers. We usually only have the one, so...
Alright,
I'm not
do you
100% sure if Lanzi will join as well, so...
Okay.
It will take a moment to connect.
So
hopefully some other people join for the interviews and we don't just have Say. If not, then it was a very good idea of me to add Say.
Well, in that case, since Say's here first, would you like to start off, Will, and maybe you interview Say and I'll do the others, or something like that?
Yeah, he's just muted for the moment, so I'll wait until he gives an indication that he's... Yeah. You sure the lobby broke for you? For the lobby broke, Jacko? I think that might have just been for you, because I was still
Okay. Well, if you could run down the order, that would be great. I'm already back in the lobby. Okay.
Yeah, Say, how much did you enjoy your Coleslaw Cup debut? It's kind of chaotic.
Fun. I enjoyed it. Had a good race overall. P16 to P5.
Yeah, driver of the day. Of course, with that. What was it like fighting Scornsey? I'm sure you probably don't have that happen too often.
Oh yeah, I don't get to fight him very often, but it was a clean battle. That's what I could ask for, and it was good trying to keep up with him. But unfortunately, I couldn't make a move. But still take the P5.
That's a great finish. I'm not entirely sure if Ryan Rods, Lanzi or Dace will be joining us. I don't see why Dace wouldn't. I know he'll be around.
I've just sent a message to them on Discord, so hopefully they see that. Alright, well we can follow up by saying that, I don't know if you realise, but Driver of the Day gets a point in this league, so congratulations on that. 1 out of 1, 100% record in that regard for you. Maybe you could follow up by telling us what the strategy was in qualifying by using the intermediate.
I didn't know what setup I had, so I had to use, and I chose the harder tire allocation, so I only had 2 sets of softs, so I didn't want to risk using one. So I just used a pair of inters because in a rain, and then I ended up not using a pair of softs at all because I just couldn't set a comfortable lap.
Alright, fair enough.
So,
Oh, we got the whole crew in here.
Indeed.
Hello, hello.
The squad is assembled. Congratulations, Dace, by the way. No mistakes there, it didn't seem like.
Yeah,
Very-
even after
very well
you
driven.
kinda-
You drove very well there, congratulations.
Muchos gracias.
Alright, I think we'll move in reverse order this time then. We'll head to Lanzi, who ended up P3. Now Lanzi had quite the eventful race there, heading to an alternate strategy once the safety car came out mid-race, and went for the medium compound, which saw you actually get to the lead briefly, but then it didn't quite pan out for you. What did you see in that whole melee where you sort of went from 4th to 1st in about 2 corners and then saw yourself back into 3rd?
Yeah, I got a good run on Scornsy and on the exit of turn 2. Got him pretty easily on the straight. And then in turn 3 I saw Dace put Ryan into the wall, so I saw an opportunity to go through the middle. Went all fine, and then I smashed the wall in sector 3. So I broke my front wing. So from there on it was just getting to the end.
Okay, so this was the exit of turn 15, wasn't it? To the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's super unfortunate. I think you probably would have had it otherwise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have gotten it. Base was still very good with the damage, so unfortunate, but it's all on myself.
Yeah, I think actually it's a fantastic effort to have that damage for like the final run as well, and to maintain a podium position. So you got to be at least a little bit happy with that, especially coming off a DNF in the previous race.
Yeah, for sure. I was very surprised nobody else pitted, because for me it was pretty clear that the mediums would be the better tire to be on the end, but it worked out for me until I fucked it up.
Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Alright, I think we'll move on to Dace then, who finished 2nd. Another podium for Dace, of course. The Flying Fish. And Dace, you led most of the opening part of the race, and indeed after the pit stops managed to get around a 2-second gap before that safety car came out. Do you think you could have held that had no safety cars come out after that? Or were you looking at possibly being on the older tyres? And it seemed like towards the end of the first stint you also were suffering a bit more than the rest of them. Do you think that would have come back to them, or do you think you could have held it?
Oh, I had some yellowish, it was yellow, almost orange damage since like lap 6, and I carried it the entire race pretty much. So that that's why I couldn't really pull a gap after that. I do think if the safety car didn't come out, that I would have taken it at least to the end. Battling with Ryan, I know he had no damage, so what you saw once he got around me, he was just gone. So yeah,
Fair
pretty
enough.
much. Yeah,
Actually very impressive from you then, if you had damage for that long to be on that pace. So what
yeah,
about...
the hards were horrendous.
Yeah, I thought so. What about when that contact did happen, that saw you and sort of Ryan getting into it in that turn 3-4 region late in the race? What actually happened there?
I honestly, I broke a little early, like I was planning to, because I knew I had a little bit of damage, and then still just had too much overspeed. And I mean, I tried my very best to cut it close to the apex. So yeah, I mean, I messaged him already and told him it was my bad, because there's nothing I could do. I broke early, and the damage just didn't want to let me turn.
Fair enough. So are you relatively pleased then, escaping with a 2nd place, given all the things that potentially could have gone worse for you, despite having a potential win there as well?
Yeah, I was pretty certain that Lancey was going to get me, but I'm glad that I ended up being able to hold him off, but it was really close at the end. So yeah, overall, it was a good race, I think.
Alright, well done from me, and I'll extend it to Will. If you have any questions for any of our drivers, go ahead. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I think we're going to Dace on a scale of 1 to 10. How surprised were you that you didn't spin?
2 out of 10.
That's probably about the percent. That's probably about the fraction of races that you don't spin in as well.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think we can leave it there anyway. That's. I don't think Ryan was just going to be joining us.
You guys still can't give me
Doesn't
credit,
seem-
no matter what happens.
I say congratulations when you join the lobby. Thank you very
50%
much.
of the commentary box gives you credit, Dace, don't worry. Alright, Will is
Why?
correct.
What have you got against Dace, Jacko?
Will is correct in saying that Ryan Rods won't be joining us as Dace leaves. So congratulations from us to Ryan, just by him not being here to hear it. And we will see you next week for round 9, the Canadian Grand Prix. Several drivers home race. That will be interesting. And we're beyond halfway now. So on the stretch home, we'll see who can make some moves in the standings towards Ryan Rods, who seems to be running away with it at the moment. Alright, drivers, see you next time. Congratulations on your great drives. I've been Jacko, and accompanied by Will. This has been the Coleslaw Cup.